What's up, morons? This, of course, is Moron Money. I am Blind Mike, and we do this every Friday here on YouTube for free. But we do have a Patreon as well if you want to check out more of this every week, where we talk about the stock market and cryptocurrency and update you on all the latest news. And I tell you what I'm investing in and merely give you the information to go out and do your own research, a springboard to finding your own information, if you will. If you want to support the channel in a free way, if you don't want to go to patreon.com/blindmike and get 2 extra episodes a week, plus the Blind Mike Project and all sorts of other things that we do back there, you can also just support the channel in a much easier, free way. And that would be by subscribing to the channel, tapping the bell for notifications, hitting the like button, commenting. All of those help the algorithm so that more eyeballs get on these videos. So if you like what we do, then make sure you do all of that, please. Support the channel in some form or fashion, if you would be so kind. And let's get into it because the crypto market is going insane. So I wanted to make sure everyone sort of has some kind of grasp on what's going on. A lot of very positive news in the Bitcoin world, in the Ethereum world, even in the Dogecoin world. My guys Cardano hitting an all-time high of, I believe, $1.69. Chainlink is way up. XRP is way up. And what you're hearing now is that we are in the midst of an alt season, where some speculate, and this number seems insane. I'm just telling you what's thrown out there. That altcoins could increase as much as 27,000%. Now, the reason I am here speaking to you and cautioning you is because a lot of people will hear that number and just dump their entire savings into whatever altcoin they find and assume that that will increase 27,000%. Or hey, they'll settle for 20,000 and you'll be rich. You'll be filthy, stinking rich. Well, there's a few problems with that. And I mean, some of them are obvious. What if it doesn't happen? What if you're just wrong? What if you pick the wrong altcoin? But the other issue would be just because something goes up 27,000% doesn't mean it's going to stay there forever. I think this, both Bitcoin and altcoin cycle, is different than those we've seen in the past because there's institutional investing, there's celebrity investing, if that matters to you, but people with a lot of money, governments, institutions, hedge funds, banks are now getting into the cryptocurrency space. We just had news that we talked about on the Patreon yesterday where banks of America, not Bank of America, but just American banks are getting into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And this is something I talked about a few weeks ago where I don't know if this was on the free episode or not, but we talked about how Bitcoin, as of a couple months ago, was at the same stage that the internet was in 1997. So if you were in Bitcoin in, I think this talked about in like February, maybe March. If you were in Bitcoin at that point, it was like being in the internet in 1997. And a lot of people said, well, so that means in 7 years we'll be at the stage we were when YouTube was invented and all that type of shit. But my logic was we now live in a time where not only news travels a lot faster, but FOMO really exists. And the idea that one bank, if Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan are getting into Bitcoin, then the others feel like they have to follow. And that increases that whole process tenfold. The idea that it's going to take 10 years for people to adopt, in some cases that will be true, but like you're seeing with United States banking, that's happening very rapidly. We already have news that Citibank will be getting into Bitcoin. And there was a report a few months ago that Citibank, a private email was leaked where Citibank was discussing the likelihood of a $400,000 Bitcoin. So you're seeing the banks, I mean, I guess you could say slowly get into it, but it seems pretty rapid. And then when you get news like Grayscale is now partnering with the New York Giants, they are the official digital currency manager of the New York Giants, I believe. And like we talked about with Trevor Lawrence being sponsored by Blockfolio, the more these crypto partnerships happen with big time, celebrities, sports franchises, banks, hedge funds, you name it. Television company will be advertised on television soon enough. You hear PayPal and MasterCard talking about the benefits of Bitcoin. Square just released earnings where the Cash App revenue from Bitcoin was, I believe, $3.5 billion, and profit was 75 million, which was about 7+% of their total profits for this quarter. So not only are people adopting Bitcoin, but it seems to be beneficial for them, which will only increase the amount of interest in Bitcoin. And some of this is happening for other cryptocurrencies, particularly Ethereum. But my point is, this cycle, I believe, for those reasons, Mercado Libre just got it, the Amazon of Central America, that got into Bitcoin recently. So the more these big institutions and big financial firms and things like that get into Bitcoin and Ethereum and other altcoins, that's only good news, and it's much different from the cycles that we've seen in the past. But if you're new to crypto, then you may not know that these things do happen in cycles, and that there's a very high likelihood that if we increase 27,000%, then after that, people may take profits. People may get bored with the format, and that may plummet down very quickly. So be careful of that. Be wary of that. Just understand what you're investing in. Now you should be treating it kind of like the stock market, at least the way I treat the stock market. I know some people are very into trading, and that's all fine and dandy, but be careful with these and just know what they do. So there's a lot of talk of a $5,000 to $10,000 Ethereum. That's certainly possible, and I believe now that they are deflationary, which the EIP, which Ethereum, I forget what it stands for. Doesn't matter. The next update for Ethereum is coming very quickly in July, and what that will do is make it deflationary. There will be Ethereum burned every yearly. There will be Ethereum burned, which means there's a scarcity to it, like there is with Bitcoin, which means it's deflationary, which gives it extra value. Now we'll talk about why that's interesting in regards to Mark Cuban in a minute. But my point is there are positive things with Ethereum. When this SEC lawsuit goes away, that's a positive thing for XRP. Cardano being adopted by the universities of Africa, colleges in Africa, that's very good news. Cardano hits an all-time high this week. But when you are investing in, Pokemon Swap or Pancake Swap, and I know people like Pancake Swap. I just use it because it sounds silly. But know what you're investing in. Know what sushi is or pancake or any of these. EOS, know what they do and why they're going up. Because with a lot of these, like you see with Doge a little bit to an extent, people are just investing because they see a low number. They say, well, Bitcoin costs $57,000 right now. I can't afford one Bitcoin, but I can afford 10 million Safe Moon tokens. So why wouldn't I buy that? Because then when it gets to $1, but the issue is it may not get to $1, or it may only be there very briefly. That's the other thing. If these increase 27,000%, they may not be there that long because people are going to be taking profits. So just be careful of that. I personally would say the safest to invest in, and of course, do your own research. These are just my opinions and what I have a little money in. But I believe the safest are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Chainlink, Litecoin. And then some people will probably throw, Polkadot, and a few others in there, Uniswap. But look at the DeFi projects, decide which one you like, all kinds of things like that. Just make sure you know what you're getting into. Because, we look at people buying Dogecoin right now and hearing the stories of people like me who bought Dogecoin when it was 0.00003 cents, I believe it was when I bought it. And if you held on to it, now you'd have tens of thousands of dollars. Some people would have had millions of dollars. Well, Mark Cuban, who has been really hyping up Dogecoin, says it will reach $1 soon, and he thinks it may level off to being a stable coin when it hits $1. Cuban was talking about its inflation rate, which he sees as a positive thing because there's a limit of, I believe, 5.2 billion Doge that are minted every year, which seems like a tremendous amount. However, Cuban's logic is that if people start using Dogecoin and spending it and it becomes a currency, that means it's decreasing inflation, which is a good thing. He says Dogecoins are easier for transaction than, say, Bitcoin, which makes it a more interesting thing. His logic is that he's made more money on Mavericks merchandise with Dogecoin. More people have used Dogecoin to buy merch than Bitcoin or Ethereum. Now, that's child's logic because people just aren't spending Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're hanging on to it for dear life, whereas they don't mind spending Dogecoin. Also, if Cuban is right and Doge becomes a stable coin, then be aware before you pour $10,000 into Dogecoin, before you pour your life savings in there, or whatever you got, just know that if it levels off at $1 and becomes a stable coin, then it's just having that, you made a nice, whatever that would be, 30% increase, 40% increase, which is good. But then you have a stable coin essentially. Also, if Dogecoin hits $1, then its market cap is about $100 million. So then you have to ask yourself, how much higher can it go than that? Maybe if it's like Bitcoin, maybe a lot more. Maybe it'll be $1 trillion market cap someday. I don't know, but 100 billion seems like a lot for a joke meme that doesn't do much else. You're able to make transactions with it, but doesn't do much else. So always know what you're investing in and look at trends. Like in my personal opinion, and again, do your own research. Make sure you know what you're doing with this stuff. Just take what I say and head over to Google and see what you can find. But my personal opinion is that right now is a better time to start getting into the stock market than it is cryptocurrency. Unless you have no cryptocurrency, then I would say, get into some and take the ride with us and don't panic if and when it goes down, as long as you know what you invested in. But with the stock market, it is on its way down. It seems like we're heading towards a crash. I have started maybe a little more than dipping my toe back into the stock market. A lot of people will caution you of what they call catching a falling knife. Basically meaning, say you bought, I'm trying to think of what really took a hit yesterday. Say you bought a Penn National at $90, which I did buy a little bit. And then it was down as low as 81 yesterday. So people call that catching a falling knife, meaning you think something's at its bottom and then it keeps falling. Well, I have a couple strategies to kind of offset that. One would be, if you kind of feel like a little bit of an expert on this stuff, if you're getting cocky about how much you know, then you can possibly go on, just make sure you know their lows. Check the charts, check their 52-week low, check their, 60 and 90-day lows. Just know what the bottom could be for the stock you're interested in. And be aware of that. But also my personal strategy is dollar cost averaging. So I didn't buy all that I could afford of Penn National when it was $90. I bought a little bit, just a little bit, just a little taste, see where it went. And then I bought a little more at 85. Then I bought a little more at 81. And I did that with Twitter and Netflix as well. ARK Invest, I did that with ARKK. And these, maybe you look at these and say, these are toast. I don't see Penn National rebounding, which I would find crazy. But that's up to you. That's your opinion. And same with ARK. People think maybe ARK's done. Maybe they invested too tech heavy. And maybe that fad is done. I don't necessarily believe so, based on what they're invested in. But looking at ARKK, looking at things that have a dip, but don't just buy the dip. Buy the dip based on uh, how faithful you are in the company going forward. If you believe they will be, if the yeah, blah, 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 blah. You're taking advice. If you take advice from me, you're an idiot because I can't speak. So my point is, not just that they can get back to where they were, but that they will exceed that at some point. Like I believe Penn National in the gaming space, same with DraftKings, who's in a downtrend right now. Um, I don't think the gambling space is even close to what it will be in 5 or 10 years. And will Penn and DraftKings be the leaders in that space in 5 or 10 years? I don't know, but they seem set up to be. So, do your research into that, things that have fallen, buy the dip, but don't just buy the dip. Buy the dip smartly because there are some things that will never rebound. And one analyst did say, I saw this yesterday, that he believes he kind of agrees with me in the sense that it may be a good time to buy into the stock market because he thinks that with a lot of the new investing, a lot of the Robinhood people and the Wall Street bets bros, a lot of this new type of investing is causing the crypto surge that we're seeing and the alt season that we're seeing, and causing the stock market dip because the people that played the odds with GameStop and AMC and Naked Brands and all of these, you're seeing them start to pull out of the market and put their money into crypto. So this analyst's logic is right now the stock market is down. Eventually, crypto will go down. And at that time, you may see the stock market start to increase as those people go back to the stock market to buy its down period. So it can be a lot to take in. It can be very panic inducing. I've been there. I tweeted yesterday something like, panic selling is the worst feeling. And someone was like, didn't you sell all your Doge? I was like, yeah, I'm speaking from experience. I sold Dogecoin when it was nothing. I had 100,000 Dogecoin last year, if you haven't heard me tell that story. Um, and then a couple buddies got in my ear and said, hey, this is bullshit, which they're right. There's not a ton of value to. There's not a ton that I can do, but I should have stuck with my gut because my gut told me when I bought Dogecoin, well, the internet is a very powerful thing. And even a joke can be brought up to $1 with the power of the internet. And then I kind of lost sight of that, ironically. I said, they're probably right. They know a lot more than me. I sold my Dogecoin, even though it was an amount I wouldn't miss. If it went to zero, okay, I lost a couple $100. But sure enough, I would have had at its peak $69,000, I believe. And that's the funniest number, which makes it the best number. So I guess my overall point today is just be aware of what you're doing. And I think next week we might get into what exchanges you can use and other strategies to go with as far as investing. We'll see how much the stock market falls by then. And if you are getting the stock market, I mentioned all the dips, Veritone, Plug Power, Penn, Twitter, Netflix, ARK Invest. There are plenty more that you can find. Also, I invested a little in Citibank because of what I talked about with cryptocurrency. So look in the financial space right now as they get into crypto, but also the penny stock I want to tell you guys about. And be aware that with penny stocks, there's not just a possibility of them going to zero. It's a likelihood. Most penny stocks fail. So just be aware of that as I tell you about Remark Holdings, ticker MARK. I believe I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I don't remember if it was on the free episode or not, but I talked about Remark Holdings being in the AI space and security space. Well, and the talk with Remark is getting into smart cities, which is a terrifying prospect, where they can monitor traffic violations and all sorts of shit like that. It's very scary, but I figure if you can't beat them, join them. And then the news this week, not only did analysts boost their ratings for Remark Holdings after I talked about them, maybe they were connected, but also Shrine in California, a cannabis retail company has partnered with Remark Holdings to be their security and consumer information platform. And it's terrifying when you hear about it, what Remark Holdings will be doing for them. Um, they're able to identify points of entry as well as through facial recognition tell when people are entering the store, what times they typically enter, if they're a VIP customer, all sorts of very scary, futuristic things Remark Holding is doing for Shrine, the cannabis retail company. Um, it horrifies me. And I read Veritone is implementing similar technology that will help with smart cities and other things like that, voice recognition, all sorts of scary stuff. But hey, if they're going to do it to us anyways, if they're going to microchip us, then you might as well make a few bucks off of it, I say. So look into MARK, look into Veritone as well, ticker VERI. But based on its price, Remark Holdings might be a little more appealing to you. But look into both, see which one you like better. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you think something I said was a lot of baloney, or if you like what I'm talking about here. Either way, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think of all the stocks that I mentioned, whether it's Penn or Twitter or Netflix or ARK or Remark or Veritone or any of these. Let me know what you think about cryptocurrency. Are you getting into crypto right now? Are you already in crypto? Are you getting in the stock market? Where do you stand? Let's build a community here, gearheads. Let's start talking. Let's open a discussion here, for God's sake. So yeah, let me know all of that in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, tap the notification bell. If you would do all of those, they really help the algorithm, and it's a way to help for free. But if you want to throw a little extra coin in daddy's pocket, then go to patreon.com/blindmike. Please don't make your decision based on whether or not I just called myself daddy. Just ignore that and go to patreon.com/blindmike. We got a bunch of other stuff back there as well, as not just More on Money. There's also the Blind Mike Project and the things we do, like we did last night, TV Time Capsule, and all sorts of wacky goodness on the Patreon. So check that out. And we will be back Sunday on Patreon. And as always, we'll be here on Fridays for free to update you guys on what's happening in both the stock and crypto markets. And until then, let's keep making money.